Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This is a rather sad and truly tragic story, and I'm going to do my best to report on it and share my thoughts. And the thing is, I do have people in my audience that are Muslims, and I have many Christian audience members as well. And I myself am a Christian, and I don't believe that any of this stuff should ever happen at all. What happened to this man is truly tragic, and it should never have happened. And when someone says to me, Jay, Islam is the religion of peace, I will refer them to this story because it just shows me that Islam is not truly the religion of peace. Does not mean that I don't have peaceful Muslim friends. It just means that the religion itself has lots of violent connotations to it. And especially one being, well, I myself am an infidel and Islam, and they want Sharia law. They want all these things. And because I'm an infidel that doesn't follow along with the religion of Islam, let's say, then I have no right to exist. Now, when it comes to the Quran, the Muslims' so called holy book, right? They deem that to be incredibly sacred. If you curse Muhammad, or even if you do what this man did, he decided to burn the Quran. Uh, their retaliation was one that I deem to be completely and totally unacceptable. Like, this should never have happened. You won't see a Christian attacking or killing anyone for burning the Bible. And in fact, the Bible is the word of God, right? Like, it's the inspired word of God. Okay. So that is a huge different scenario compared to the Quran, which was written by, I don't even know who it was written by, but it was not written by God. Let's just say that. The Bible, however, was inspired by God through man. Man, yes, did write it. We've got so many authors that did write it, but you have all the cross references in the Bible, which are totally amazing. And you have the salvation story. Meanwhile, the Quran is a book that has things in there that are quite and evidently telling people to do certain things that you wouldn't consider to do in today's day and age. It's not the so called peaceful book the Muslims make out to be. And the thing is, not every Muslim that practices Islam has read the Quran. Let me just point that out. They claim to be Muslim because their family are Muslim or whatever else. It's sort of like a cultural thing as well, to some degree. But this man who burned the Quran, he was shot dead in Sweden. PM suggests links to foreign power. Gee, wonder why you've got links to foreign power. Could it be that this man did it? He filmed himself burning the book in front of all of these active Palestinian Muslim protesters in Sweden, I think it was. And he knew what was going to happen. Like, he said, I am prepared for what is about to happen. He knew that the moment he was to do this, his life was done because Muslims would go after him and kill him. And he's just proving they did exactly what he said they were going to do. They're going after him for burning a book. Imagine that, right? They're killing an innocent man, a Christian man, for burning a book that mostly talks about us being infidels, that doesn't talk about the truth. You know, like, that is quite astounding to me. It's amazing when you've got people that criticize the Bible, right? And they'll say the Bible's not real. It's not truthful. And you have people that I've seen even burn it. And yet they don't get killed. So why did this man get killed? And of course, the ABC, being the woke, left leaning, government funded in Australia news outlet that we've got, an anti Islam campaigner who sparked violent protests when he burned the Quran outside a mosque has been shot dead in Sweden. Salwan Momika, 38, an Iraq Christian refugee, was shot in a house in Stockholm on Wednesday. Mr. Salwan set fire to a copy of Islam's holy book outside Stockholm Central Mosque in 2023. It outraged Muslims, triggered threats from jihadists, and saw unrest break out in the city. He and one other were facing 4 counts of aggravating an ethnic group. So let me get this straight. The Muslims and other people can burn Bible, and that's not deemed as being aggravating an ethnic group. But if a man burns the Quran, he faces judgment from the courts because he's aggravating an ethnic group. That doesn't seem to make too much sense to me, does it? Stockholm District Court had been due to hand down a trial verdict on Thursday, but the hearing was postponed after it was confirmed that one of the defendants had died. 5 people have been arrested in connection with Salwan's shooting. Stockholm police said that they were called to an apartment in Hovsjo at around 11 p.m. to report reports of gunshots. So, threat to democracy. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson said on Thursday Mr. Salwan shooting could be linked to a foreign power and security services were assisting with the investigation. Right. Vice Prime Minister Ebba Busk condemned the murder. It is a threat to our free democracy and must be met with the full force of our society. Right. Like, this man did not deserve to die for what he did, for burning a book that the Muslims claim to be holy. But when you've got the Bible, on the other hand, the inspired words of God, and we've got ample evidence to prove that it's actually accurate and truthful, that's a different story, but it still doesn't warrant anyone dying over it. Dr. Malouf puts up on X, this is heartbreaking. He goes, I know very well that Muslims will kill me one day, but I'm not afraid and I will not back down from my principles and defending Sweden and the West. And I'm ready to pay the price for that. So who was Salwan Momika? A lot of people knew him for burning Qurans in Sweden, but they don't know his story. Salwan Sabah Matthew Momika was born in an Assyrian Christian in the Islamic apartheid state of Iraq. His native language was Aramaic. The Assyrians are the indigenous people of Mesopotamia and have been systematically persecuted for centuries since the Arab Muslims invaded their land in the 7th century. If you haven't heard about the Crusades or just the Muslim conquests, look up a little bit of history for you because, yeah, the whole Crusades and the whole Holy Wars, I guess you could call them, were nuts. And lots of people were displaced, all in the name of one person's specific religion. But even that, you had the Sunnis and the Shiites, when they separated, 2 sects of the one religion of Islam, right? You had them both going after each other and killing each other in mass. It's been going on for ages. Sunnis and Shiites hate each other's guts, even though they are both claiming to be under the one religion. I'm forgetting, and I'm blanking on which one is the more extreme end, but they both can be pretty much extreme. But one of them primarily is they're the ones that become terrorists later on, as far as I'm aware. Growing up, Salwan witnessed Islamic attacks in his community and family. He lost friends and relatives. In 2014, he tried to exterminate his people. Salwan took up arms and fought the jihadists. They murdered his people. The Assyrian Christian population in Iraq dwindled from 1.5 million to just 100,000. That is insane. A true genocide. Salwan had no other choice but to flee his homeland and seek refuge, in Europe. He had lost everything. Salwan applied for asylum in Sweden, but it was denied. He applied for asylum in Norway. It was denied. Salwan was facing deportation to Iraq, where he had been sentenced to death due to his anti-Islamic activism. Not only that, he was facing trial in Sweden for being accused of inciting hatred. Europe seems to only welcome Islamists and not actual persecuted Middle Eastern minorities. Someone realized that he would not be safe in Europe and decided he was going to try to apply for asylum in the United States. Unfortunately, he never had the chance. He was brutally murdered by Islamists who broke into his apartment in Sweden the other night during a TikTok live stream. Someone literally gave his life to raising awareness to the horrors of the Islamic extremism and defending the West. The world failed to protect Salwan. Rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. And Dr. Malouf says, have you ever heard of anything or anyone, being killed for burning a Bible? That would never happen. And it has nothing to do with Christians being less serious about their religion than Muslims. It boils down to the founders of both religions. Jesus preached peace and peace only. Muhammad was literally a warlord who killed hundreds of people and owned slaves. And I think he married a 9-year-old or something like that, something crazy too. Two religions could be more different. And that's what I was trying to allude to in the very beginning of this. You have two different people. You had Muhammad and then you have Jesus. And the thing is, while I know many people that are Muslims and they're beautiful people and I love them, but the fact is, I wish they also knew about the history. I understand the Christian history is brutal too, but have you seen the history of Islam? And have you looked at how Jesus preached peace, love, grace, not to retaliate with violence, turn the other cheek? I don't think Muhammad preached that at all. Anyway, just a really sad turn of events, if you ask me. But you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.